Well, let's see. My name is Mike Dentino, or Michael P., as my mother used to call me, Michael Patrick. And I'm still alive at the age of 72 3/4. And I live in the Knolls in Peoria. And
your occupation?
And I'm actually retired now, but for a long time I worked at CAT, 35 years, and then another 5 at Bradley, and I finally retired after raising a big family. Well, I was born in Peoria, corner of 1st and Spencer Street, where we had a family business, 1930. Kind of a nice year for getting born, because you never had to worry about having too much. And I spent most of all of my childhood in that neighborhood. Went to St. Joseph's Grade School and Spalding Institute and to the Notre Dame University. I graduated actually as a chemical engineer and went to work at Caterpillar and doing research work. But I got a little bored with that, and so moved into sales and marketing and spent about 35 years trying to peddle those big tractors. And then after that I went to work for a CAT dealer for about 4 years, and then after that I went to work for the Leadership Development Center, wound up at Bradley University doing management seminars. So I've had, I guess, 3 different careers, and all through that time, why I was able to participate when time was available in Cornstalk, which was a great way to relieve stress and meet new people and have fun. I came from a big family, actually. I have 6 brothers and sisters, and so I'm used to having lots of people around. And then I got married back in 1954, and we raised, Margaret and I raised 10 children. That's what happens when you put an Irishman with an Italian. And from those 10, so far I've gotten to the level of 35 grandkids. I don't come home anymore and ask my wife what's new. But she, God love her, has done a great job of raising kids, because some of my jobs at CAT, I did a lot of traveling. I was away from home maybe 15 nights a month, and so she gets the credit for however they turn out. But I got a bunch of grandkids.
Great.
Well, actually it was Dick Chandler. I was in a show at Peoria Players, Summer and Smoke. It was a Tennessee Williams show, and Dick was stage manager. And in fact, my first roles were heavy roles, were Tennessee Williams stuff. And in the process, Dick and GRETCHEN, IBEN, and a few others like the Oakleys got together and were talking about a summer theater. And Dick mentioned in an organizational meeting, and one was held at the school on Garfield. Is it Irving School on Garfield? Right. And I remember we had a big meeting, and there were about maybe 50 people there to kind of get a cadre together. And then there were a couple other meetings at Silco downtown, and I was at a lot of those meetings. I didn't make all of them because I was pretty busy being a bachelor and having a good time. But I met a lot of people, and I remember GRETCHEN talking about building a theater where they would, for summer entertainment, and we'd even have some musicals. Well, I always thought a musicale was when you went to somebody's house and listened to someone play the piano in the living room. I didn't realize she was talking about musicals. But it sounded interesting, and I was kind of swept into it, and Dick is the guy who got me invited, and I liked the scene because there's some great interesting people to meet. And I wound up out here in the second season putting in the tiers. We had railroad ties, and then behind the railroad ties we filled in white rocks and put in those canvas folding seats, and that was the first year in the tent. I didn't work on the shows when we were out at Detweiler because I had a lot of things going that summer, but I kind of recognized this would be a really special benefit, a treat for Peoria to have summer theater. My first on-stage production was Italian Straw Hat in '57. So that was about, I guess, the 4th season. I'd never really been that active. As I say, I was in a show at Players called Summer and Smoke, and then The Mad Woman of Shiloh. And in fact, The Mad Woman of Shiloh was my very first show in 1952, and I met GRETCHEN there, actually. And I got interested, but I didn't feel I had, I'm an introvert. And for an introvert to get in the round with a lot of people staring at you is kind of a spooky thing. And so I really wasn't interested because it was too spooky. But then as I watched people, in fact, as my sister was a dancer in the first musical they did out here, Down in the Valley. And she had a great time, and I thought, gee, maybe I'm missing something. And so about another year went by, and Dick Chandler directed Italian Straw Hat and convinced me to try out, and it's probably one of the most fun experiences of my life. And that's what kind of got me turned out. It was a lot more fun than doing tragedies like Summer and Smoke and Mad Woman of Chaillot.
To say, or to think of an introverted Mike Dentino sounds almost like a contradiction of terms.
Well, as an introvert, you can go down and be somebody else. It makes it pretty easy when you're somebody else. It's just when you're yourself, you get a little bit spooked. Well, she is a real lady. She gave cornstalk legitimacy. That first show I was in, I told you, was as an actor was Mad Woman of Chaillot, and Gretchen was the Mad Woman. And I was tremendously impressed. I thought, what am I doing out here with these people who could be in movies? They're so good. And she turned out to be a wonderful teacher. And while she really concentrated her activities in drama and directing drama, she had a great eye for shows, and she was one of my biggest fans. She would always tell me how much she enjoyed the things I was in, and particularly what she thought I had done well, and I felt good about the fact that she appreciated comedy as much as she appreciated drama, but she was really a great lady. There were lots of folks like that in the early years. Helen Louise Young, who was an early director out here, got a lot of great shows on this stage, as did Gene Holmes. Gene is a rare person. Gene is a fellow who had a great theatrical sense, was a good musician, he was a good businessman, and had great people skills. And so you seldom find all four of those attributes in one person. He made a great theater manager, and Dick Chandler actually was the first theater manager, and obviously a great friend of mine, and we've had a lot of good times together. But Dick's greatest asset was his artistic side. He couldn't run a business very well, and I think most of us knew that, so we tolerated Dick's business skills, but he did a great job of putting the theater together with Gretchen and others. And when he left, Gene came in and took over, and Gene was a great guy to build the theater because he really ensured its financial contribution, the successful contribution, and I think is one of the reasons the theater has lasted 50 years. Particularly today with all the artistic opportunities there are in the Peoria area, few like Peoria in that respect, you have to be good to stay alive. Well, I told you I was an introvert. I met Ronnie when I was a sophomore in high school, in that I was moved into a new class and they gave me a seat right in front of Ronnie. And I was an introvert, and Ronnie is a flaming extrovert. And people were laughing at him all day long, and I said to myself, boy, I wish I could be like that. People love the guy because he's fun to be around. And I'm sitting there sucking my thumb. And so Ronnie, after a year in front of him in sophomore class B2, Mr. Pilon, I decided I was going to take on some of his characteristics. And he has been a lifelong friend, actually. I've known Ron ever since then, and we worked together at CAT for long years, and we're still in touch. But and we've done a few shows together, and he's fun to work with. In fact, he and I used to go out and entertain clubs and stuff when he and I were younger, just for the fun of making people laugh. Len, God love him. I grew up with Len on the South Side. Len went to Mannion, I went to Spalding, but we knew each other, and of course our paths crossed in college, because he and I sometimes dated the same girls. And I've known Len, I knew Len socially, but then I really met him for the first time during the run of a show called Bells Are Ringing. My brother tried out for the dentist in that show, Dr. Kitchell, and Leonard tried out for that show, and my brother beat him out for the part. And Len was just beside himself because he thought, I'm a dentist, I should. But that was Len. I think that's the first time he ever tried out. Then he came back immediately after, and when he saw the show and how good it was, tried out again. And then I can't tell you what show that was, but he's become a regular out here since the late 50s, And Leonard is one of the great contributors to the theater. In fact, the lab theater really is his creation. The key is quality. The one thing that made Cornstalk what it is today was the quality of the early productions. The people came out here and saw something that was as good as a traveling show. Now, they weren't all that way, but most of the shows in a season's time, we started off doing 4 shows and went to 5, with one being called experimental, and then finally 5 full productions. But the shows out here through the years have been very high quality. Some are better than others, but we survived because we didn't put on many bad performances. And the value, of course, to the community is it's a great place to learn, because in the mission statement of Cornstalk, it says the mission is to teach and provide the community with quality production. So the key to me is quality. And if the quality stays where it has been, the theater will have life many years into the future because of its uniqueness. It would be nice if we could figure out a way how to air condition this place. But even as hot as it gets, most people are really taken with the ambiance and the fact that there's no other in-the-round competition in the area. That's a really unique preemptive feature of the theater. And I can tell you as an actor, there's nothing like it. I've done some shows here like The Foreigner, and it's so much easier to deal with an audience in the round than it is with proscenium. Particularly, it enables you to connect with an audience, and you really learn your skill when the audience is that close. But I think quality is the answer, and as long as Cornstalk keeps producing the quality of the past, where people walk out of here saying, man, you know, that was quite a show. I directed a show called Chicago, gosh, 15 years ago. In fact, it was the last musical I directed. And I looked at tape of that last week, and I was really struck. And I guess I'm patting myself on the back, but it was a great production. And I don't, you know, having seen that show other places, I would put the show we did up against any others. And the round gives you an advantage nobody else has. One of the problems out here is a lot of directors don't use the round to good advantage because they're not sure what to do. But most of them learn over time. And if they can learn and keep the quality up, it'll be here 50 years from now.